My name is Weldon Wade. I'm an avid ocean advocate, diver, and community activist. Well, for me, what I love doing the most is bringing the community together. I love hosting beach cleanups and lionfish calling events, bringing businesses and the community in general together to unite for a common purpose, which would, in the cases that I'm involved in, is removing trash from the ocean. I mean, the ocean really connects us all, and connecting with people globally has been important to getting my message out there. It's just been a wonderful experience connecting with schools and students to talk about the problems that our ocean faces. And it's great to get together with other ocean heroes to talk about what we're doing and getting our message across. I believe one of the cornerstones to protecting the ocean is human connection and awareness. So the more people are aware of how important the ocean is to our health and our well-being, that's very valuable. And we're doing something a little bit different tonight. Hi, Jess.
Hey, Weldon.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness. Let's switch up the background. You're going to let me do my monologue?
Yeah.
My intro monologue? Yeah, let's do it. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on with us. It's Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. Shout out to all the divers, instructors, explorers, mermaids. Wait, speaking of mermaids, I had this ready to go. Hold on. Check it out. I wrangle mermaids as well, you guys. Can you see that?
It's beautiful.
That's shout out to Adrian and Katie. Yeah, I wanted to get that in right away. Shout out to the mermaids, photographers, ocean content creators across the planet, all the swimmers, divers, snorkelers, free divers, scuba divers, technical and commercial divers, boaters, sailors, fishermen. I think that's like almost everybody that does ocean stuff. Almost. I don't know. Tried to get the list, like check every box. Hello and welcome to the Wade in the Water live show, episode 9, brought to you by TBI. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you are well. If this is your first time watching, I'm your host, Weldon Wade, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Jessica Lee. Somewhat official. Might as well make it official, right? So real quick, I'm a diver, educator, and advocate for ocean sustainability. I'm also a PADI ambassador diver, and it's been my job for a long time now to get you diving and keep you diving. So this show is to keep you informed, aware, and educated on what's going on here on the island of Bermuda, across the region and the world, and to share stories and experience. Tonight's topic is going to be all about diving in the dark. All right. So we're going to run this show every Wednesday night live on Facebook and YouTube with replay available right away, and past episodes at your fingertips. So we're going to do our final episode next week already. Making 10 this season, and Jess and I will make some adjustments before we jump into season 2. So Jess doesn't know this, but I'm going to ask her for some really dope video because I want to shoot a really cool intro with her and I. And even though we can't physically be together, I'm going to have my guys edit something really dope for our season 2 intros. It's going to be great. So yeah, that's kind of what it's going to look like. We're not 100% sure, but one change in particular is for definite, and we're going to go for an earlier time, you guys. So shout out and salute to my night owls. But yeah, earlier time, all goes well. So strap in, hold on tight. Remember, the quickest way to get to this show is live.weldonwade.com. So that's what's up. Love to maybe increase the frequency of the show as well. Go outside and maybe go on location. So we'll see. But thank you for joining us on the live or checking this out on replay. Please, if you're in Facebook, share, like, follow. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment in. All that stuff, all that engagement, all helps the show grow. And if you'd like to be a guest, jump on impromptu. Like I can send you the link through StreamYard right now. You can jump on the show. Or if you want to do something awesome, like present something to our viewership, drop me an email to hello@weldonwade.com. I just have a piece of news before we jump into the topic, which is diving in the dark. Is that I still serve on the board of directors at BUEI. It's been many, many years. And what's really great is our new leadership, Carla Lacey, is doing some wonderful things there. It's really, really dope. And BUEI is proud to announce the island's first ever youth climate summit. So it's building up a whole lot of steam. It's looking to be amazing during a full week in November, which will be what? October is Friday? October's Friday.
Already.
Gotta pay that mortgage. I'm right there. During a full week in November, which will be next month in like a day or two, um, young people ages 13 through 22 will focus on climate issues, accumulating in a year-long action-based volunteer project managed by a youth climate advisory board. So visit the brand new website. It's YCSBDA, or Youth Climate Summit Bermuda for short.com, for more information. Jess, quite a bit of a stir around here with this whole diving in the dark business, and not being able to see what's around the corner and stuff. But I don't want to get into it, Jess. Sorry, before just recognizing Bermuda's in a bit of a pinch, and that's bringing making light of a very dire situation that we're going through with the pandemic. So for my viewership, especially my people on the ground here, my community, I'm here. The show must go on, yeah. But I want to extend condolences sincerely to the families of those that have lost their lives and are being affected by the pandemic. A close friend of mine that I went to high school with passed away this week. It's been really, really tough. And Jess, I don't know if you've looked at the numbers or anything like that. And I try to keep, I've niched down, my content to diving. Yeah. But we're all human. And I just wanted to take a moment just to recognize that, yeah, as much as we love the ocean and diving and all that stuff, life goes on, and there's a lot going on. So what I say to you is do your best, get out there, enjoy nature. For us, I think I can speak on behalf of the both of us, just that getting in the water, whatever discipline you choose, it's very therapeutic for me. Once I put my regulator in my mouth, or my snorkel in my mouth, my mask fins, whatever, I put my head underwater, it's very difficult for me to it happens, but it's difficult for me to think about mortgage and bills and issues, and you know my grandmother who has health challenges right now that we're pushing through. So this whole thing about wade in the water, and one of the reasons why I wanted to start the show is just to have this connection with you and be able to share everything. Right? It's not all going to be diving with mantas and whale sharks and swimming with dolphins and with humpbacks. It's that human element, right? We're all here on Earth to enjoy it, really. And yeah, I just thought I'd share that little piece with you guys. So thank you so much. Um, in the comments, you guys, let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. That'll be dope. And we're gonna get into our topic. So for our viewership that have been tuning in from the beginning, they'll probably notice, Jess, that Jess has a new angle. Jess has an upgrade.
Only the best for you guys. Only the best.
You guys have us like investing in this stuff to get you guys the best content we can. Again, we're out here building up while we fly. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, grabbed the new mic. I hope that's working out well. Shout out to Shore. Jess grabbed the new webcam. I got some other things I'm bringing to the forefront for season 2. So Jess, thank you so much for grabbing that kit. It's wonderful to be able to look at you in this angle. It's really, really nice. We're diving in the dark, you guys. Jess, take it away. You saw I had some things queued up. I had some slides.
Yeah.
Not some slides, but I had some website tabs opened up that I was going to share, but I'd love for you to jump in.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Jessica Lee from Diving with Jess. I am a PADI Master Scuba Diver trainer, and I have been lucky enough on this show talking with Weldon, and I love coming out here every Wednesday and talking with you guys about what I love, which is diving. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for joining us and leaving your comments. We love it. We love seeing where you're at and what you want to hear about. So what's really cool, so Diving with Jess is a company I just started, and it is all about eco-focused dive training and travel. So once travel starts opening back up again, getting out there, getting in the water, learning about the places that we're going and how we can help the environment. And I'm here for it. So thank you so much for joining us.
I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna come back in real quick and say, Jess, thank you so much. It's always wonderful to have you on deck. Diving in the dark. The reason why, this is just to our viewership, the reason why I didn't say diving at night is because a lot of the dark diving that I do is in broad daylight. It's just where I happen to go blocks out the sun. So, in order to entice you guys to come and hang out with us tonight, I thought I'd aptly title it Diving in the Dark. So, a couple of things I'd love to share. Jess, did you want to share your stuff first?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Let's
So,
get into it. And then we'll just feed off each other and run the track. But if you've got some stuff
so
to share, let's see if it works out.
yeah, absolutely. So some of the super fun things. So a lot of times when you think about diving in the dark, you think about night diving, which is definitely one of the things I'm going to talk about. But some of the other types of dark diving, right? So we've got caves, which I'm sure Bermuda, Mr. Weldon Wade over here is going to tell us some exciting adventures about. I have a couple pictures as well, but also limited visibility diving. So sometimes it's daytime and you're not in an overhead environment, but it's still pretty dark. I have the pleasure of sometimes diving in very low visibility situations. So it's not always because it is nighttime. Also, sometimes you're out on the reef and it's a beautiful sunshiny day and a nice storm blows through. You're nice and safe underwater and you don't really have to worry about it, but you'll lose a little bit of that visibility as well. So I wanted to share with you these amazing, let's see here.
We're burning it while we fly out here, people.
All right. I'm going to spoil you guys. I hope you're ready for it.
Oh, my dear. I'm adding it to the stream, family. You ready? Boom.
All right. So these pictures are of fluoro diving. I don't know if you guys have heard of fluoro diving. Or fluorescent diving. It's whenever you go down on a night dive. These pictures were taken by the incredibly talented Brent Durand, who I had the pleasure of diving with in the Philippines back in January 2020 in a very different world. Very different world. So as you can see, whenever you go on a fluoro dive, you go down, you have these really cool orange UV filter over your mask, and you have a UV light, and it glows. So
but that's like a really tiny critter, though,
so
right?
what do you guys think this is? So it's got antennae, right? So this is a nudibranch. This is a little nudibranch, and look at how it's glowing. So the light is bouncing back. So it'll bounce back off of certain biological materials, but it'll also bounce back off of certain like minerals as well. So I'm going to show you. Check this out. So those are the eyes of a mantis shrimp, right? Look at the detail on that. And it's just glowing. So it's extraordinary. I had never done a fluoro dive before, and I had the opportunity to in the Philippines. And these were some of the things that I got to see. These are not my pictures. These are the very talented Brent Durand's pictures.
Shout out to Brent. And I just want to just say to the viewership, and we've got, I can see through StreamYard, there are about 29 people watching this right now, which is dope. If you go back, Jess, to that, like even the first one, the nudibranch, I just want our viewership to understand that nudibranch is probably an inch or so big, and that's its head and its mouth and its antennae. And then the next shot of this mantis, I mean, I don't, I mean, the equipment I have is extremely basic. I almost don't want to say what the stuff I use to shoot. I can't even couldn't imagine capturing anything like this. So this is an amazing shot. And
like
it's
next level macro,
super macro at night with the UV light and the flow diving. And yeah, what's the next one?
So this is super cool. So you can see all of the cool little polyps of this coral right here. Look at this detail. Isn't that the most fantastic thing? So whenever you're diving, so what's really cool is in this picture, you can tell. So it looks like this is the only thing in the picture, but you can see there's a little bit of structure right here. What's cool is not everything glows. Not everything glows. And so it's just certain structures that will. So there could be a little fish hiding right here, and we wouldn't even be able to see it. But whenever you have that shield over your goggles, you're just seeing over your mask. You're just seeing what is reflecting back that UV light, and so that's how you get this like insane.
Wow.
Look at that! Isn't that amazing? Those polyps are fantastic. Um, and so here, this is a little bit more of what you would see whenever you're diving. So this isn't a super close macro. This is a little bit further back. So you can see, I can still see the coral that this particular piece of coral is growing on, but it's glowing back at me, and you can see the little like specks here and there, and that's what it was like. So there'd just be darkness, and then there'd just be
Oh,
these like
that's crazy.
bright pieces of coral, and certain like with the nudibranch and with the mantis shrimp, you could see different structures will shine, and it was the coolest thing.
That's this is sort of like one of those videos I've been watching on YouTube, like the whole reaction videos. Like Jess didn't send me these in advance. I'm seeing these for the first
They were
time with you guys. So
surprised.
this is, yeah, and it's just like, I need to upgrade my kit. I
And it
can't.
was
I
so.
can't. Go ahead. So I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I'm
no, you're fine.
excited.
It was just so exciting, and I'm so thankful that he had the. So you actually have to make sure that you have the right type of filter on your camera too, because if
Wow.
you don't, that it's gonna see as if you did not have that orange shield over your mask. So
Okay.
it'll still be kind of cool and glowy, but it won't look like this. So you have to have that special filter on top of your camera to be able to see these. And the fact that he was able to capture this, these are just absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to share them with you. I wanted to share Fluoro diving with you because I've been diving for 18 years, and that was the first time I'd ever gone on a Fluoro dive, and it was
Hmm.
fantastic. It was such a fascinating, and it was so cool because you didn't know what was going to be glowing and what wasn't. So it was kind of a mystery, you know. You're like, oh, like where is it going to go? And you can't see your dive buddy super well until you like pop up your shield and you're like, okay, there's my dive buddy over there. Put my shield back down and
That
then
is super
keep
cool.
checking out. But you don't have to swim very far because everything around you is glowing and beautiful. So you're just kind of enjoying all of those like finer details versus, you know, boogieing through a dive. We stayed in a really small, like central location and just kind of checked out all of these different coral heads. It was really, really fascinating.
What
So
else
if
you
you
got?
guys ever get an opportunity, I highly recommend trying it.
So I did some diving with my buddy Andrew DeMello. Shout out to Andrew DeMello. The diving community would know Andrew very well. He grabbed some UV lights from leisuropro.com, I believe, and we were doing just a couple of bioluminescent dives. The black light would just light up the bioluminescence in the corals, and I thought it was pretty dope. It was a special light, and you didn't need the shield like over your mask, but we also weren't doing any photography. I remember like the GoPro was picking up like the lens was having trouble like focusing properly, and that was really really dope. I did do these flow dives in Mexico when I was in Cozumel. I did a volley where I was in Cozumel like 4 times in 1 year. We did this flow dive where you did have the shield, and it was amazing. And I mean, I just want to say this for the benefit of our viewership again. Like Bermuda is known as a shipwreck capital of the Atlantic. But once you've seen the shipwrecks, you'll be amazed that you got to switch to macro. Like we've got the nudibranch, the sea hares, and all kinds of really, really amazing critters that are, an inch big. So, it's a big shift. Yeah. Going from wide angle lens of trying to capture like the Hermes or the Mary Celestia, which is a whole nother, we can talk about the Mary Celeste at length. I don't want to digress from the topic, but something really dope happened last week. They had a cool webinar with Philippe Rouja, who's the custodian of wrecks. He did a big talk about the perfume they found just recently on this wreck. It was sitting at depth for like 100 years or whatever. So anyway, super cool stuff. Vane, I'm just bringing up some of the comments here. Came in normal light. We'll check that out, Vane. Vane, I wanted to have you actually on the live or in the live. I was hitting up Vane earlier, and I'm like, bro, like join us and tell us about K-Man and where he's at. And I could talk about K-Man, but I don't want to talk about K-Man. I want Vane to talk about K-Man. Jess, any more? Do you have any more shots
Yeah.
of Brent? Let's do a couple more of these.
So just a
Yeah, that's
couple.
really
Look at that.
cool.
Isn't that just it was just so spectacular seeing it underwater. It was so cool to see something that I've been on night dives before. I've seen the coral at night. I've seen whenever you like watch the sponges feed in it, and they uh, like suck the little bioluminescence up through, and you can watch them filter feed. But this was just something else. But then, oh, look at that! Look at that! It looks like stage lights. You know, you're just glowing. It's fantastic. So
I know, Vane. I know. We don't.
but then I
I
also
don't
have
take
a
the best
couple
try to
others.
keep
So
in touch
here's
with.
another wider angle shot. So this is kind of cool. So you can see like not everything is glowing. So these guys are, but these guys are not, which is pretty fascinating. So that is pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then we also, these are from Fernando, who was the guest on episode 3, was it? Weldon?
I was gonna say later, but yeah, it was the
Three,
early,
three
yeah,
or
probably
four,
3 or 4.
somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
Sorry,
So
you
these,
guys. It's good.
we've been
I've
around.
I've lost track. This is week 9. Sorry, Fernando.
But yeah, so these are from Fernando, and these are just some awesome cave shots. And I'm sure you have a bunch of cool cave shots, Weldon.
I
But
don't have a whole lot to share actually. I've got probably some video I'd love to cue.
oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
just real quick video, and then I got some tabs of some websites I have up
Yeah,
as well.
I have one short video that I wanted to share with you guys too. That was just it was a little bit different. Oh, so this is low vis, but look at that. This is like a Twilight Dive. Look at that.
Just a humpback whale.
Just two. Just
Oh
no
my
big deal. Cash.
low vis dive. It's interesting
Look at that.
that I know for another agency that I was training with, low vis was a requirement, a required dive. We did it was like drift, the typical ones like right, night drift, wreck, boat was an interesting one, and low vis as well. Let's run this video. So
All
yeah,
right.
intentionally going somewhere because the thing is, a lot of divers, or like, and when I say divers, you guys, in my day to day context, it's just putting your eyes underwater no matter what. So not necessarily scuba. We could be talking about snorkeling, but on Instagram and on social, and I think it's, at least for me, when I think of putting my eyes underwater, I'm looking at 50 plus feet of clear visibility, and it's important to recognize that not everybody that dives experiences that degree of visibility every dive. My friend Katrina, she did a bunch of diving in quarries in the UK, where you got 6 feet, 6 to 10 feet of visibility, and then it's just haze,
Yeah.
which is pretty wild for me. I consider
That's
anything less than 50 to be
That's
like,
my norm. That's my norm for teaching is when we get like 12 feet, it's a good day. this is this video is a little treat I wanted to share with you guys. This is again from Fernando,
right.
and this is him doing a night dive with mobile arrays.
Uh,
Look at how many there are. So you're not gonna. It's a totally different situation than diving during the day. So there's also manta dives. So these happen to be mobilas, but there's also manta dives, and they're attractive because the plankton gets attracted to the light, and these rays are filter feeders.
Wait, run that again. Magic
Yeah.
vein. I mean, let me know. Is this playing back smooth on your side? Because you know how this is going. So Jess is playing this.
Oh,
Run it
yeah,
again,
yeah. Let
please.
us know. It looks
Yeah,
smooth for me, but let me know
this
how
looks
it
smooth
is
for
for you.
me.
Okay.
Because I hit up StreamYard to try to figure out like what's the best way to share video. Whether it's a YouTube video, should I stream it from my machine? Should I stream it from YouTube? Like, how should I upload it into StreamYard? We'll see if we get some feedback from the viewership, but I think that looks dope,
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
pretty
good.
wild. Um, I mean, night diving offers, or swimming at night or in the dark, offers so many cool things. We talked about the bioluminescence that was in Bermuda earlier. You got to do that stuff at night. I mean, I was wading in the water in 4 feet of water, moving my hands around, and water was glowing like glitter. I felt like I was in Avatar or something. It was crazy. And yeah, the lights while we're in Clarence Cove, just to kind of frame this properly, just like the fry are attracted to the light, similar to maybe the mobilis rays were, though that's way more exciting looking than fry jumping at the lights. Especially when you're with a bunch of people and you point the light at a buddy, and the fish are jumping on you and over you and in your face and stuff. That's pretty crazy. But let me just cover some stuff because I want to just do our best to frame this um, for our viewership. Now, this may not really be. Let's check it out. Let's just check it out. So, shout out to Patty. Yeah, Patty and I think most all agencies do offer a night dives specialty. And Jess does offer this specialty at Diving with Jess. And if you hit patty.com/courses/night diver, it gives you a breakdown of what the course is all about. And for sure, the underwater world does change as day creatures retire and nocturnal organisms do emerge. So when the sun does go down, grab the night diving specialty and you learn the skills. It's way more than just like getting over any fear you might have of the darkness. It's a lot of it I can remember was you need a light. First things first, you do need a torch. I recommend two. And if you level up, you find you got a primary light and a secondary light, and some divers have multiple lights. But I love this very inexpensive torch. This one was purchased from Dive Gear Express. Different flavors of light, and I didn't give Jess a heads up that it'll be sort of a gear chat, but I thought you need a light, right? And it's great if your buddy has a light as well. Magic, what's your vibe with your lights? You still got your lights and stuff? So yeah, it's got for the benefit of just pushing through this. All this information is available on patty.com in terms of the requirements and whatnot. But light etiquette, not shining your light in your buddy's face. And then certainly if I'm asking Jess if she's okay, Jess can't see me doing this and I can't see her doing this back. So you learn how to use your light, and Jess can speak to the course because I'm not an instructor, you guys. So what do I know? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Jess,
I think you might. I think
Jess,
you
what do you cover?
Might.
What do we cover in the night dive, please? Because you're the instructor. Let me show
what's really exciting about whenever you do the night specialty is we also, so on top of light etiquette, on top of safety, on top of learning all of some of the hand signals underwater. So trying to get your buddy's attention, moving your light slowly back and forth, giving them the nice circle for the okay. What I really like, and I know I've talked about this before on previous shows, so I hope you guys are listening. I hope you understand how important it is. But we practice navigation during a night dive because whenever you are on a night dive or in a low visibility situation, you can't use your visual references around you as well as you can during good visibility, right? So if you have really hone in on those compassing skills, it makes those types of dives so much easier because you're not going to get lost. You are going to be able to get to whatever it is that you're trying to see, whether it's some cool sunken plane in a lake, or if it's a beautiful shipwreck in Bermuda, or just trying to get down on a shore dive, get out to the coral reef and back. Having those compassing skills during a night dive, that's going to help you get you where you're going so you can see all the cool things like the fluoro, like the shipwrecks, that type of thing. So depending on what you're trying to look at, but yeah, having a compass is invaluable whenever it comes to a night dive because it gets you where you want to go. So we practice our compassing skills. And while I'm here, I would love to plug Twilight Dives. So whenever you're right there at dusk or dawn, whenever you're in that in between of whenever the sun is going down and the animals that are out during the day are starting to go away and the animals that come out at night are starting to come out, there is a golden time, a golden hour where they interact. And so you get to see, you might still need your flashlight because it's starting to get a little bit darker, right? But so you're gonna have your flashlight with you, but you can still see a little bit better than you can during a night dive. And I recommend this for people who are maybe a little apprehensive about doing a night dive. I like to take people on a twilight dive first. So you go in when the sun is still out a little bit. It's maybe gone down below the horizon, but there's still some sun peeking out. And then by the time you come out of the dive, it is dark, and you kind of are there during that transition. You get to watch all the animals transition. You get to see some of the corals will kind of close up, other things come out. A lot of you get to see some of your cool night predators, the barracuda who've been just chilling all day, start looking a little bit more active. It's super fun. And I think it's a great way to get your feet wet if you're not too sure about a night dive, is to do a twilight dive. And then you'll have so much fun that you're ready for dive 2 to get back in the water for your full night dive. So there's
Please,
a
guys, the twilight diving is such a wonderful icebreaker into the full night. I couldn't agree with you more, Jess. It is pretty powerful. And one thing that some Bermudians know, but not all, is well, not Bermudians, because parrotfish exist everywhere, almost everywhere. Is the parrotfish at night, they'll make this mucus sort of little encasing around their bodies at night, and they sleep in this mucus case, which is pretty cool too. So as you're swimming along, and there's a whole bunch of night diving etiquette with respect to like respecting the animals and stuff, and not blinding the animals with your torches and stuff like that. But certainly, twilight, dusk, dawn, like vein for sure, early morning dives. Yeah, it's and because that's the opposite, right? You're in the water when there's very little light or no light, and you're be able to experience the sun rise, right? I think that's pretty powerful too, and it's always great to keep in mind just timing, and as painful as it is to like get up early and get to a dive site. And we're half a mile away from the ocean. Not everyone has that you wherever they might be, but once you get there, it's always super worth it. And around here, what I'm trying to do is rally my buddies to get together as often as we can, because um, it's the clock system. I think what I'm trying to say is it's really great when the clocks fall back later on in the year. Yes, the water is cooler, but it gets dark earlier, so you're able to get in your night dives and get back home before it's close to midnight. Whereas when the water's warmer in the spring and summer, you're getting home super super late. So that's what I typically do. Vane is I'll flip it and I'll say, look, you guys, let's just get up early and get it out the way, and experience the reverse, which is just as dope. And then boom, come home, shower, rinse the kit, let things soak, go to work. Come back at lunch, finish things off, get the tanks filled,
right.
get ready for the diving for the day.
You can't beat that, starting off your day with diving, and then you like the rest of your
I
day would just be great when you
know.
start off like that. I also like to make sure that whenever I'm teaching at night, I like to teach during a full moon. If possible. Obviously it's not always possible, but there's something so fantastic about, so during part of the class at one point in time, you have to practice like a lights out scenario. And so we don't actually turn off our lights, we just cover our lights with our hand. But whenever you are diving during a full moon, for a second, your eyes are used to staring at where the flashlight was. But whenever you cover up the flashlight and it goes completely dark, once your eyes start getting adjusted, we had it one time and it was really cool. It was a big class and we're all sitting down on the platform. We have platforms in our lakes here. They're like wooden platforms that we can teach on top of. And the moon, the moonlight was streaming down through the water. And once my students got all settled, I said, like, look up. And they all looked up and there was just, you could see it through like the underside of the surface with like the ripples, and you could see the moon just glowing and then shining down. And it was pretty spectacular.
I don't have any memories of moonlight diving and having that experience.
Well, because a lot of times we're looking down, right? And that's one thing I always like to remind my divers. I've had people look at me like I was crazy because I always like to roll over whenever I'm diving to look up. Because sometimes that's where you see really cool, like schooling fish. Sometimes you'll see the
Look
moonlight.
up.
Sometimes you
Where's
never know
my
what you're going
pan?
to see.
Where's my pan? Yeah, look up. I love though, um, when it's raining and you're just under the
Yes.
surface, maybe doing your safety stop in 15 feet or so, and you look up and you see the rain hitting the surface of the water from below. It's really, really nice.
Oh, yeah, it's
That's
beautiful.
super cool. Um, I did have, and again, I don't want to go through this because you guys can Google it just like I did, but I do have this 10 tips for night diving on sportdiver.com, Sport Diver magazine. Um, and it's the 10 tips. I went through them in advance. They're on point, as you would expect from sportdiver.com. Yeah, redefine night. That's a nice one. I like that one. Get the right gear. We talked about lights, and I'm going to show my lights just one more time, for viewership, just that aren't necessarily into night diving or haven't done it at all. Tie one on. Yeah, don't lose your light. And that's why, one of the reasons Jess mentioned, not turning off your light and actually just holding it towards your body or covering it with your hand is, turning on the night light on and off is a bit of a failure point. And then if you happen to drop your light in a night dive and it's on, at least you can see it and you can recover it. I can't tell you how many torches and other pieces of equipment have been lost doing night dives. So Vane, to your point of diving early in the morning, you gain light, you don't lose it. So if you lose a fin or a mask, snorkel, or any other piece of equipment, you can kind of wait it out, and when the sun comes up, you're good. But if you have the opposite, it can turn into a little bit of an interesting situation. So even for the cavern and cave stuff I do, even if it's just snorkeling, I'll tell people, look, put the lanyard on, got the lanyard on this light, put the lanyard on, but and don't turn the torch off. And yeah, know the signals. That's important. Tip number 6: aim your light carefully. Don't blind yourself, your buddy, or any critters. Go easy on the light. Yeah, biggest and brightest beam. Do recon before your first night dive. I was gonna say, I did do a dive during the day. My first night dive, we did a dive first during the day, and then we did it at night, and it was great. We at least had some familiarity of the site, but the critters had completely changed. It was really cool. Mark the way home and have fun. So, what I just want to share that I bought, Vane, shout out to the Compass crew. Um, had this compass handy. I have a couple of these. This is my Oceanic Compass, and what's really great is it does glow in the dark. So one of the pieces of etiquette you do learn with your gear while you're getting into night diving, whatever it may be, is your gauges and your compass and other kit will illuminate when you light it up, and it'll glow, which is really really cool too. And then speaking to one of the points on sportdiver.com about lights, so I just want to share with you guys real quick. I consider this. Ooh, wait. We got another comment. I don't want to miss this stuff. This is the good stuff. Also, try an early morning dive. And then Vane says, best to go out at night when the moon is out and the octopuses come out.
Yes.
Now, Vane, my buddy David, and my Bermudian family would know David with the laugh and the ginger. He's been trying to get me out snorkeling in Harrington Sound a certain time around the full moon because the sea cucumbers raise up off the bottom like an L, and they do their spawning thing, and we just haven't been able to align. But we've got those glowworms 3 days after the full moon, 3 minutes after the sunset, or something like that. It's all kinds of awesome things happen. As the day evolves, right, from day to night and night to day. But real quick with the kit, I want to get this out of the way because I think this is dope. So I've got a couple lights, and I got a canister light as well. I got my video lights and stuff, but these are what I consider just basic torches from Dive Gear Express. They're about $60 a piece at cost before shipping and duty. This torch has one constant beam. It's got a rechargeable battery inside, but this is a twist version just on. I don't want to blind you guys. That's one of the rules. Yeah, etiquette. So twist on, twist off. I love this torch. It's got about 3 O-rings inside of here. You screw it open to get to the battery. The thing is, I've given a torch like this to someone that I didn't orient properly. I just said, look, twist, half a twist on, half a twist off. And we got in the water column, and he twisted it open at depth, which flooded the torch and destroyed it. So I think that this happens to be the most I guess, durable light, based on it being quite simple and just twist on, twist off. Yeah. But you've just got the one constant beam or the one constant intensity. And then you have that sort of, if you happen to give it to somebody and they twist it off. Now, this is a $60 light. And I'll take a little intermission with the light bit and just share a story about handing someone equipment when they're not familiar with it. True story. I won't mention any names, but we all have an understanding, or may have an understanding, of how expensive diver propulsion vehicles, or DPVs, are, those underwater scooters. Unfortunately, one of my mates invested in one of those Tusa Sav 7 Evo underwater scooters, and during an orientation dive with some of his friends at one of our popular beaches, actually handed off the DPV to one of the friends that wasn't familiar with it, engaged the DPV, and the DPV went off on its own. That's a $5,000 DPV gone forever. I don't think it was ever found. That's probably one of the gnarliest stories I've heard in a while. And, we went out looking for it a few days after. We were thinking, well, Vane and Magic and JD, you could think like, okay, was it negative? Was it positive? Was it neutral? Which direction did you last see it going in? How long is the run time? There was this whole mapping exercise. So guys, like, handing something basic, well, a DPV is not basic, but handing something off to someone when they're not really familiar with it can definitely be a bad situation. So I think he did replace the DPV ultimately, but that was a very, very gnarly story. This light, same cost as a twist on, twist off, but you see it's got a little push button. So what's really good about this particular kind of light is it's still two halves. Screw it open. You get to the battery, recharge the battery. It's an 18610 battery. You can't just go to the store and buy them. It's comes with a little recharger and stuff. But this has a little push button magnetic switch, I believe. So you just got high, low, off, and then high, low, and then it does a strobe. So I got this because I don't really have to explain to somebody the whole thing about not opening it up all the time. JD says make them sign for it in blood. Yeah, if I had a DPV and I've always looked at getting something like that to make shore diving a little bit more fun, I end up just saying, nah, forget it, man. We'll just swim. So you need lights. I recommend having two lights that at least can share the same battery is a bit of a bonus. And I order these lights. You can hit me up and I'll let you know where I get my kit from. I do support, buying Bermuda, but the local retail stores don't have this kind of stuff in stock. They got lights, but not these kind of lights. These are super, super versatile, super durable, and pretty awesome. And I could probably let me try something real quick, Jazz, real quick. Let me just try to, without blinding myself or anybody else. Let me see if this shows up on camera. Hey, a little bit of a glow. Yeah, a little glow. So have your compass. Jess, what you got for me?
I have a funny story. So whenever you were talking about when you shine your light on your gear and then it glows. So nowadays we have some computers and equipment that is backlit, so you can actually like turn it and it glows and it's great. But obviously, a lot of equipment is not, and you have to shine your light on it for it to glow, just like that compass did. But I was diving in Cayman. And
Cayman, oh boy, Vane, you still only live or what?
Yeah, so I was down in your neck of the woods, and I I had a older style computer, and it had like a clear faceplate over it, but there was a gap underneath where like water could get. It was just to protect the screen of the computer, and apparently the bloodworms are very attracted to your flashlight. So when you then shine your flashlight on your computer, there was all these little wiggly critters, and I hadn't ever seen them anywhere else. And they got underneath in between my computer and they loved it. They just like hung out there and then they left. I think a couple stuck around and made my equipment smell a little stinky for a while, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Because it was just like any other night dive, but all of a sudden I had like 1,500 new best friends.
God, Jess, I think this show is really, really awesome. You're bringing up so many memories of diving back in the day for me. I think it was in Mexico, night diving, the bloodworms. And what the instructor was doing with these bloodworms that I completely forgot about is shining the light on coral heads. And the bloodworms were going into the coral polyps, and the coral were eating the bloodworms. Whether or not that's a good thing, I don't know. But the coral, it was pretty wild to see. And we were doing the glowy trick with the fluorescent lights plus the regular white lights, and the bloodworms are going into the coral. So hopefully that didn't do anything bad to the corals. But I remember that, and I was thinking, wow, and just wiggly. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I'm just, you see my face, I'm like, I don't remember that being particularly pleasant because it was about 8 of us with all our lights on and just these wiggly bloodworms in the water column. And you're just
they
like,
won't leave you alone.
Yeah, you're like, like, get
especially if you don't know what they are. Like, once you know what they are, and they're not going to bother you. But like when they first come up, you're like,
wiggly's like,
am I in an alien movie? Like, what is happening here?
Magic.
But yeah, once I realized like they weren't going to hurt me and everything was fine, like the only problem was sometimes I couldn't see what depth I was at because they were in between my screen and that protector. So it was a unique experience.
Now, see, Vane's in Cayman. Magic, do you remember your trip in Cayman and experiencing those bloodworms? And Vane, I looked up coming back to Cayman and diving with Dive Tech last week, and I believe there were still restrictions to get to Cayman. they were to be lifted either today or like today, yesterday, or tomorrow. Are you guys coming out of those restrictions now, Vane? Because I'd love to get back down to dive tech, honestly. I do a crossover to the Kiss Sidewinder CCR. That's what they're flying under and all. Sorry to digress, but I'm also looking up this basket starfish thing. Oh, yeah. Basket starfish. I had to look that up, Vane, because this is just interesting.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
They're weird, but they're beautiful.
I, oh my goodness. This, I think I saw this in Cayman, curled up like this, and I didn't know what it was, and my guide wasn't around, and I thought it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. It was moving, and yes, this is it here. This thing, this cluster of stuff here. Wow, wow, Vane, thank you so much for that feedback. Semi-closed. Yeah, yeah, that was it. It was even if you were vaccinated, and I'm happy, I have no problem saying that I am. I would have to quarantine for 14 days. I was like, wow, that would be an interesting vacation. And Bermuda, I think we were gonna do that, or we've got something going on, but we definitely are a bit more relaxed than that for sure. This is awesome. I'm so excited. I got so much video, Vane and Magic and Jess and guys, like that. So first things first. I don't delete anything. I mentioned this before on another live. I have a Synology NAS. I got two 6 terabyte drives inside that do a mirror, and all my data lives on this NAS. I've upgraded over time, but like I got stuff going back to 2006. It's pretty gnarly. I got like exes and all kind of my ex-wife and everything. So it's pretty painful going through that stuff from time to time. But I got so much content that has never seen the light of day. And it's funny when I see ads. I think it's Spivio, or you've got these ads on social that say like, most GoPro footage never sees the light of day. Send us your footage and we'll edit it for you. And I'm like, because I don't really enjoy editing, family. It's like, but it's true. I got like over 10 years of stuff like sitting on these drives, and I got dope video of this wreck and these basket starfish. That's so cool. Real quick, Magic, thank you so much for the feedback. I saw one that came in during a night dive. I had no idea what I was looking at. Magic, this is during the day, and I'm looking at this bowl, and I'm like, what is this? And I didn't have anything to poke it with. I don't support poking. But I was like,
Okay.
no, and then the thing just like clinches onto my glove, whatever. I was like, oh my god. Actually, speaking of gloves, I know a lot of diving destinations say divers don't wear gloves because when you wear a glove, you're tempted to touch. So I think I just totally verified that as myth as a fact. Like, you got a glove on, you're definitely more tempted to touch. So I know Mexico in the reserve, they said no gloves. But guys were still wearing gloves, so whatever. Some people carry a little pokey stick. Well, that is so amazing. Vane.
Yeah, they're so cool whenever they like ball up like that. And especially like if you see two that are like balled up together, it's just like a tangled mess of awesomeness.
Yeah, tangled or like live organic living thing. And thank you for just verifying that, Vane, because I hit Dive Tech's site and they were like we're open for residents, and I was like, well, what about everybody else? And so yeah, until things are lifted, at least for the vaccinated, I'll stay home pretty much. We're struggling up here, Vane. We're just on our numbers are this is fourth wave vibes, and hopefully this show, at least for Jess and I, this is a wonderful time to spend with you to kind of disconnect from that. And I hope it's doing the same for you guys, for our valued viewership, because
A
Things are
little
pretty
little
gnarly
spot
out
of
there. Yeah.
sunshine. I like what you said at the very beginning, and I think it's always so good. Like when we come on, like we're so happy to talk to you guys about scuba diving. But if you're ever like, oh man, they're always like at 100%. We have real lives, we have real problems. This is a highlight
Humans, you
reel.
guys, like
We're talking about what we love, so of course we're super happy. But it's especially like right now when times are pretty tough. Please know, like this isn't like 100% of the time. This is what we love, and this is what we want to share with you. But I just want everyone, if anyone's feeling down, I hope this brings brightness to you. But also, if you're like, man, I can't be like that excited all the time. Just remember, like this is us. This is an hour,
yeah.
and it's so I just want to keep it real with you guys, and it's it's one of those
I
things.
know, man. It's yeah.
Be careful what you consume on social media. Remember, we're showing you the highlights.
I
We're all real
know.
people too. So
We are for sure. And like Jessica just said, I'm gonna try to keep this tight for an hour, which unfortunately means we've got like less than 10 minutes to go. But similar to Jess sharing photographs from Brent, I wanted to quickly share, and I'll just add this to the stream. This is so Karen Technical is the Facebook page. John Karen is who I did my CCR training with in St. Croix, trained on the Defender, Subgravity Defender CCR Air Dill Mod 1. But these are photographs of John that S.J. Alice Bennett took, and I just want to share with you some of their stuff. So clearly this is cave, full cave. We're talking twin set, business, overhead environment, no natural light, all artificial. You got scooters. We talked about the DPV story. What happened in that story I shared earlier would not happen if these guys. This is a rebreather, Fathom CCR, but I believe this is in Florida, but super expansive, massive cave systems. I've never done any diving in Florida at all. Certainly one of my, I guess, goals once upon a time was to become full cave Jess. I did some orientations with some of the local guys, namely Gil Nolan, Wayne Meaden. Spent a little bit of time with Wayne, but my mentor, Leon Kemp, was full cave, did the whole bit. So a lot of the early instruction I had, Leon came at me with me becoming a cave diver as an outcome. So when it came to learning buoyancy, trim, the Hargothian configuration, the long hose, keeping all Vane. You knew Leon, right, Vane? Let me just. Yeah, I mean, I believe so. I'm sort of putting our history together on the fly, Vane, so forgive me for that. But and real quick, what I want to also do is share just two pieces of video that brought us to this topic tonight. And I'm going to try to keep my audio and Jess's audio because when I play this in this way, it tends to mute that. But Vane, when I started at Argus, Leon was there, and I don't know the year. It's been a long time, but that's where we met, working in IT there. Let's see how this goes. So, yeah, this is just the other day. Let me preempt this real quick. Just the other day, I consider this a cavern dive. We're not in an overhead environment at all. This is during the day, and we're just snorkeling in this bit of a pool that's on a cliff face. So, yeah, I'd call it, I mean, cavern pool, if you will. Let's run it. I'm going to unmute our mics if it mutes us by default, Jess. Yeah, so I'm just filming my model. We are just floating, no fins, mask, snorkel, and light. I had my video light lighting her up, and we're just going along the cliff face. Now, this pool does lead to a cave, but That's it. So when I posted that up on social, people, and the whole thing was like diving in the dark. It was like really, it was daytime behind us, just the way the lighting was. This is it's called deep blue. As soon as it gets past like lunchtime ish, the you lose light. It doesn't look quite nice for visuals, but it's still daylight. It's still like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This next piece of video I haven't shared at all, so it's pretty much a Wade in the Water show exclusive. But same spot. But so here we're just again mask, snorkel, no fins, just kicking around. And I decided to go down as well. I had my fins on. I did.
That's so pretty. I love the sunlight coming through the water like that.
And that's the whole vibe. When I went there in the first video, we had lost this light. So I dived down on breath hold. I am slightly under, going under and around. And the whole idea was to capture these rays of light coming down. And so again, just swimming along. No harm, no foul. Popping up. And the conditions here are always, flat, little bit of like soot, just organic material. So with my dome port, I just had issues with the silt, so I have to kind of push the silt out of the way. But yeah, capturing these visuals, it's almost always like this. And my friend, she happens to be a professional dancer, so we spent about an hour just like dancing underwater. I was like, no. So I need to get into editing. If not before, I need to get into editing now. Put some really cool music to it. I was shooting in 60 FPS, so I can slow it down, make it really, really dope, and just produce. That's really one of my biggest wishes. Is like Bermuda needs to produce. Bermuda ocean content creator folk. We need to produce more stuff to get it out there because, and I'm not pointing no fingers at nobody, but we tout Bermuda as being the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic and the big diving destination and somewhere people should come to dive. But Google diving in Bermuda, YouTube diving in Bermuda, and we don't have the content out there to match that. If anything, we're bested by our friends in other diving destinations quite quickly. So there are a handful of content creators that are producing some really, really cool stuff consistently, and that's dope, but we just need more. And I'm guilty of having too much data sitting on my network attached storage and not out there in the wild because I don't like editing. I don't have anyone that'll edit for me for free, and I don't really have a budget to pay an editor to kind of go through everything. So I'll work on that, you guys. Vane, that was not Harrington Sound. That was one of the features in the Walsingham Nature Reserve. Yeah. There's numerous caves in that on that property. That property is in trust. You do need permission to get in the caves there, which I do have, which is pretty dope. It's a blessing. Real quick, yeah, Vane, 2003, 2007. Yeah, we didn't work together at all. No. Okay, I got you. I'm really bad with dates, Jess. Yeah, I came back to Bermuda in 08, 09. I was living in Canada during that time, Vane. We missed each other. Just to put this up. No, that was not Harrington Sound. Harrington Sound is rarely that clear. So if anyone watching this live or on replay that wants to have a snorkel with me in that cave and capture some really dope content, hit me up. Because I can shoot you for a while, you can shoot me for a while. I've got some new. Oh, okay, got you, Vane, got you. I thought so. Yeah. I got some new gear coming. New wetsuit. Just wetsuit, masks, snorkel, new long fins. I gotta switch brands. And then some other stuff. So I'd love to. And I do believe it rings true that the colder or the cooler the sea temperature gets, the clearer the water gets, and that should apply in those systems as well. Although the water in there, comes in and out and rises and falls with the tides. we have a storm coming, which I didn't really talk about. Hurricane Sam is approaching Bermuda. It'll swing to our east, just like Hurricane Larry did, but that'll stir up South Shore and stir up all the water. And as it, rises and falls and water goes in and out of the caves, you will get the haze inside of there as well. It's all connected. So night diving. It looks like the majority of our viewership are divers that do night dive, and they were here to, see what was going on with what we had to say and what we had to share. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. If there's anyone out there that has any questions for Jess or Jess, look what I did. I did not put on our display names.
Oh.
Jeez, my best friend Keenan White, shout out to you, Keenan. He's like, yo, you need a producer. It's too many moving parts. I was like, bro, we're building it while we fly out here. So that's a little faux pas on my behalf. But you got Jess, the wonderful Jessica Lee at Diving with Jess across social. You've got me. You know how to find me at Weldon Wade. If you've got any instructor level questions, don't message me. I'm not an instructor. That's for Jess to help you out with. We've also got on the live diving instructor JD. We've got Magic in the house as well. Shout out to you guys. Vane, I wanted to have you maybe next week you can jump on the show. We're going to be talking about lionfish next week. We're going to be highlighting how Jess and I met aboard the MV Fling. I want to bring some other people that were on the yacht with us on the show, Jess. We'll talk offline about getting people on deck. We can have up to 10 people, I think, on this call.
Ooh.
That will be amazing. Especially getting the lady from NOAA, like the coordinators, get Rachel, get Alex. That would be dope. And just figure it out. But
only if you send Swizzle so we can really recreate it. I need you to import or export it to me so we can really recreate the experience.
That's not super challenging. I think I bought a bottle of 9 parishes with me back in 2019. So they're still around. They rebranded their bottles a little bit, but it's the same formula. It's really, really good. I've had too much of it. Just that's been one of my coping mechanisms through all of this, unfortunately. So I need a new wetsuit because I don't fit in my old stuff anymore, you guys. Like I gotta get.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
We're human, and things are bumpy, things are choppy, it's so yeah. JD, appreciate you, brother. Let me see. There's something else you can do. Yeah, night snorkeling.
Yes.
Night snorkeling. Vane, just so you're aware, I mentioned this from time to time. I think 80% of the diving I do these days is not on scuba, and that's primarily because if you remember, we can't hunt, we can't spearfish anything other than lionfish on scuba, so you have to be on breath hold, and then lobstering. If you want to catch lobsters, you can't be on scuba either. So I just find the friends I have these days, it's all about not coming home empty-handed. So we're spearfishing and lobstering, and then I just find that snorkeling is just so much easier. But if it's time to scuba, boom, I put on my backplate wing and tank or side mount, which is starting to get popular again. Forrest just got some new razor harness and a new shearwater dive computer. I was gonna poke at him. I was like, "You got the Peregrine, bro. Why did you get the Tarek? Like, get the Tarek. At least you can wear it every day to day, like a regular watch. You got the Peregrine. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, not through insult on your boy Forrest. We need to get out there during the fall and winter and into next year and get in as much diving as we can. But yeah, I snorkel, especially Vane, the shallows off Tobacco Bay. Really, really nice. I grew up in St. George, and Tobacco Bay is in the east, Jess, where St. George is, and that's just that northeast edge. It's really, really nice, and you can work your way around, and it's just super beautiful. That's definitely somewhere we'll explore. It's a bit too shallow for scuba. Like if you're doing classes, the first bit could be considered confined water, but it's really shallow. Clarence Cove that I've talked about quite a bit, which has a cool man-made cave tunnel thing, is a spot I go to quite often near where I live. And if someone wants to have a sort of I'd call it like a simulated cavern cave, you stand up, you've got air, so it's never you're in a safe environment, and you can see light at the end of the tunnel all the time. So I'll grab my lights and we'll snorkel through. And normally you'd see like octopus and lobster and all kinds of things. But the last time I went through about a week and a half ago, nothing in the tunnel. Like I was surprised. And it all ties in with the moon and the stars and how the things move around and their whole mating routines and stuff like that. So I should have marked that day in my calendar to say like go back next month this same time and day and see like, okay, is this a consistent thing? Because I've gone through the tunnel before and there's been countless baby critters in there. So, but hey, I think the net of this particular topic tonight has been pretty much flashed out. We kind of touched on a lot of different things: gear, life, diving in Cayman, weird starfish and the bloodworms. Oh, bioluminescence and flow diving.
Yeah.
I don't want to end this particular live without speaking to our first experiences, Jess. And I think for you, I just wanted to ask you, like, were you afraid, like, doing your first night
I
dive?
am so happy that you asked that. I really wanted to share my first night dive with you guys. It was a really cool experience. So you guys know I got certified at a very young age. So you have to kind of keep that in context whenever I talk about like my early diving years. So I wasn't an adult whenever I was doing these things. So it's dark. I've never done a night dive before. This is my first ocean trip. So my certification dives were in a lake. So this was my first ocean trip. I'd already been doing some daytime diving, and it was my first night dive. And I have always been very, I don't know if bold's the right word, but also competitive, maybe a little bit, especially because I had the joy of diving with my dad and my older brother. So anything my older brother did, I also had to be able to do, even if it wasn't something fun, like just to prove I could. And so we all went out as a family, and it was really cool. No one else was on the boat. It was in Key Largo, Florida. It's absolutely beautiful there. And luckily, we had been diving, but it was interesting because it was my first night dive. It was my first wreck dive. We weren't doing any penetrative diving, but it was just like on top of a small wreck. It was the first time I ever saw a shark. It was my first time I ever saw bioluminescence. And so it was all these really cool experiences. And also out in Key Largo, once you get out a ways, you're so far away from any light pollution that you get to see like the entire Milky Way. It was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I was nervous. I had never, some people, like a lot of times when I teach, whenever I teach open or when I teach night diving, it's in a lake. So it's a very like confined, safe area. So people aren't worried about monsters creeping up from the deep. I mean, maybe a little bit in the back of your mind, but they know like there's nothing living in this lake that can hurt you. But going out into the ocean, it was a very different experience. I always loved the ocean, and again, like I said, I was a pretty confident young person. But whenever you're going out there, you're like, do I actually want to do this? Is this I'm about to jump into the ocean in the middle of the night. The type of dive we were on, it was literally just me and my dad and my brother. There was no dive guide. There was no anything. And yeah, we got down there, and I still remember my dad had seen the bioluminescence and I did not. I was just so focused on I had the smallest flashlight because we got a 3-pack. So it was like large, medium, small. And I'm the youngest. So I have the little flashlight. So this tiny beam of light. It was like
You got the baby light. Oh my
the dinkiest little flashlight, like no light whatsoever. And we get down, and he points to the light, and he's like, turn it off. And he's like, turn it off. And I'm like, you're narked. We're in 30 feet of water, but you're narked. I don't know what you're talking about. And so I go and I cover, just like we learned, cover the flashlight. We don't actually turn it off. And I looked around, and there was bioluminescence everywhere. And it was just here and there. It wasn't super thick, but it was just all around us. And from that point on in the dive, I was like, okay, this isn't scary. I can do this. Like, this is beautiful. It's hard to be scared whenever something is that incredible. And it was cool because it was the first time I had ever seen a shark too. So on the day dives that we had, I didn't see any. And I was shining my teeny tiny little beam of light across the bow of this sunken ship. And right there was a shark. staring, and it was a small like reef shark, and I knew to, you don't disrupt the animal, so I shined my flashlight away. But then, the little voice in your head is like, now you don't know where the shark is because you moved your flashlight. So I shined it back, and the shark's not there anymore. And I just remember that moment of like, oh, good, and I was like, is it good or is it bad? Is he mad at me? Did I wake him up? And again, but it was such an amazing experience. And it's one of those, like, if you're on the fence about trying to decide if you want to do a night dive, again, I highly recommend taking the night specialty, trying out some twilight diving or dust diving. But yeah, it was a really incredible experience. And it's one of those things, you're going to get to see things that you're never going to get to see during the day. And even if it's stuff that you do get to see during the day, you see it from a completely different perspective.
Agreed.
And you can't beat that. So please, and also for all you avid divers out there, guess what? It gives you 12 extra hours of diving. If you couldn't go out diving during the day, but you have time to do an evening dive and you're lucky, like Weldon, you live near the water, like, instead of it being a no dive day, it can be a go day, So it's one of those things of don't limit yourself to just diving during the day. I mean, obviously work within what you're comfortable and what you're trained to do. But getting out there and night diving and seeing the ocean in a completely different element, it's such a cool experience. And I highly recommend it. And that's coming from a frightened 13-year-old kid.
That's so wild. I thank you for sharing that story, Jess. I just want to share that my first night dive was with the Bermuda Sub Aqua Club. It was part of a weekend retreat. BSAC used to do these really, really amazing, super like skills built. Like you're on an island, in an island, with your peers, your instructors, and your mentors for a weekend. And we went through a bunch of training, and that was where I did my first night dive. It was with Phil Birch, who was like ex-military, really, really cool guy. And it was just him, myself, and one other. And I remember we went right off the beach, and like one of the first things that kind of gave me that heart, like skipping a beat moment, was shining my light and seeing like the largest puffer fish I'd ever seen. I think its eye was as big as my fist, and we both scared each other. Like the fish jumped and I jumped, and I remember like yelling in my regulator, and Phil turning around and did the big "Oh, like, are you okay?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, even
Cool.
though I'm just like, I don't know, this is a really, really sketchy thing. But so I was a little jumpy, but the moon was quite vivid. I remember that. So even walking from the barracks, or like the where we had our bunk beds, down to the beach and whatnot, like the moonlight was so bright, we could see everything. And we got in the water, and it was really cool. So no bioluminescence, no sharks, no wreck, nothing really like outstanding, other than having an unforgettable first experience night diving with Phil. I think what I want to share for the benefit of the viewership as well, and I know we're in overtime, is Phil did a guided night dive off a popular beach here called Elbow Beach. And we parked our vehicles, kitted up, walked down the stairs, go straight out the beach, straight into the ocean towards the arch. The arch is right at the breaker line, not too far from shore, but it's a decent swim. Did that swim at night, did the arch, found all the features and points of interest that we wanted to see. Now we're following Phil, and he's got his compass, and it's wild how these experiences are imprinted in your memory forever, because I knew Phil was awesome. Yeah, he was first class diver, which would be maybe course director level, like this is what he did. And I just remember, the dive was cool, but we ended the dive and we walk up the same footprints that we had left in the sand when we entered the water. So in other words, he was so precise and accurate with his navigation, that to this day, like, I've never had that experience before, and I certainly I'm nowhere near that level where we're walking up our footsteps. Typically, when I'll do a shore entry or exit, we're at least like at least a few yards off of our where we entered. I don't always make it a point of necessarily re-entering exactly where we exited, because for you guys that know Elbow, it's like, yeah, you might end up a little ways up the beach, a little ways down the beach. But I just remember shining my light where, we're kind of taking our fins off and the lights are shining everywhere. And we're wondering if anyone called the cops because they see lights in the water at night, and Bermudians aren't really used to seeing that type of stuff. And that's happened before, coming out of the water at night and the police are there thinking there's aliens. Um, and I remember shining my light and thinking, I'm like, Phil, these are our footsteps that we came on. He's like, yep. I was like, whoa, whoa.
That's impressive for
Um,
sure.
and that's really cool. And there's so much more, I think, Jess, that we can certainly share. And based on who's on this live, JD's got pure experience with the water start kids. I'm sure Vane Magic got all kinds of stories and input and stuff like that. And for you guys that are on the live regularly, please, like, if you want to jump on at any time, even if it's not no, but even if it's during the stream, I'm happy to share the invite link with you guys via DM, and you guys can jump on impromptu. That's what Jess did, and she's been with us now for 9 episodes.
Just can't get rid of me.
That's what's up. So we are about to sign off. We're not going to do an after show or after party. But I want to give everyone tuned in right now an opportunity for any last words, any last questions. I'm not even sure if the StreamYard interface is like porting over all the comments from all the different destinations, but it's definitely coming from YouTube and Facebook from what I can tell. So yeah, listen, be safe out there. Um, yeah, one day at a time, and celebrate life. Spend time with your family and your friends, and just recognize, like, guys, life is short, but it's a beautiful world, and it's even bigger. It is a small world, but it's even bigger when you put your eyes on the water and take that leap. And I say that to our viewership that are non-divers, because our viewership that are know that things are pretty wicked underwater. It's a wonderful place to be, and it's a privilege to have taken that giant stride, or dive into the deep end, or whatever other sort of pun you want to throw at it, to have this the gear and the opportunity and just the passion that we have. And I think it's super cool. But it's on us now to inspire future generations to do what we did, um, as well as our peers that are peers. That's the Bermudian accent kicking in, and our peers, to join us and get in there. There's room for more divers, no doubt. Jess, any last words, real quick?
Yeah, it was actually ties in perfectly to what you're talking about. I wanted to give a special shout out to my grandparents who are watching the show. I wanted to thank them for encouraging me to be in nature from a young age. So even way before I got scuba certified, they were the ones who got me out there and kayaking and canoeing and fishing. Um, and I want to thank them for always encouraging me to be in nature. And it's really helped me get to where I am today. And they are even helping me now as a grown adult. They got me new free diving snorkel mask and fins this year for my birthday. So that way I can start a new adventure, because you guys know, scuba instructor, I like to snorkel. I like to dive for science, but I do not know how to free dive. I haven't practiced breath holding, that type of thing, and that's my next adventure. So even as adult, they're still supporting me and my journey in nature. So I wanted to give them a special shout out and thank them for supporting me.
Shout out to your grandparents. That is really, really cool. The freediving world is really dope. And yeah, like you, Jess, in a way, it's something I got into after scuba, I guess. Um, and now I do more that than scuba, but mostly, it's because don't come home with empty hands, you know. But yeah, yeah, that's great. Let me know offline what you're gonna get, what you're gonna grab, and we can talk about it. See what you're gonna dabble into. Ah, boy, so much gear. You should see my garage. I should actually grab the camera and take it in my garage one of these lives, or
Yes,
just
please.
shoot something and pull it up. It's just key gear. And I mean, you got the stuff that I purchased, you got the stuff that I inherited as well. Because when people would leave the island and not be able to get rid of their gear in time, they're like, "Yo, wait, come over and pick up my tanks, my BCD, my regs. Like, just keep it. My you want weights? Come get it." So I got all kinds of stuff in my garage that I'm gonna have to get rid of at some point because it's just so much. Not everything fits me, and I don't scuba as much as I used to because I free dive now. And those caves, the videos I showed you of the caves, we can't scuba those anyway. So even going to those caverns and those particular features, you got to leave the tanks at home. So yeah, we could
Pass it
talk.
on to the next generation of
Yeah,
divers.
yeah, yeah. I definitely want to clean it up and get the gear serviced, and then put something out there that says, look, if this gear will fit you, I'll put the sizes and stuff in there. Just come pick it up, and we can dive together. So if you're a certified diver and the stuff fits you, come and grab it. It was given to me, and I'm happy to give it away. Got a dive computer. It's integrated into the octopus. I'm not a fan of that, but I got like 3 or 4 of those. One's brand new too. It's not
So
new.
my
Yeah.
bags are going to be really heavy when I leave Bermuda, is what I'm hearing.
If anyone still watching or whatever, or watching this on replay, and you need like weights, hit me up. Like I got the beanbag lead ball ones. I got the brick ones. Like I just got pure weights and some weight belts. And my friend April, she gave me her whole gear bag. She's like, "Yeah, bro, I don't dive no more. Get this out there." I mean, everything: the bag, boots, light, rash guard, fins. Sheesh, yeah. Got to do a little bit of inventory. But yeah, if you need weights and you're in Bermuda, hit me up. And they'll work with the rubber free diving belts. They'll work with the webbing belts too. They're all really really nice. So, but that's gonna be a wrap, you guys. Pairs. What do you mean, JD? Pairs? Did I speed right past that?
I don't know. He's going to have to explain that one.
Yeah, we might have to hang around for another minute or two for JD to explain pairs.
He just wanted us to have an after show, so he just sent that out there to see
just
if we figured
random,
out.
like, yeah, you guys aren't going anywhere. I'm gonna have you thinking about what this is, like pairs.
It's
So
pumpkin season, JD. You can't be talking about pairs.
yeah. So we're 24 minutes into overtime. Got 30 people locked in, which is weird because that's a lot of people, and like we're
They're
not
here for
getting
the
too
pairs.
much. Yeah, they're for the pairs,
I'm
the
here for the
swizzle, the pairs, or whatever. The Bermuda. Oh yeah, right. Pairs.
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 You gotta say it like
Sorry,
it's
JD.
pairs.
I tried to sped past that so fast that I had to. Yeah. Yes, the accent. Yes. Magic, JD, Vane, everyone that's on the live. Thank you so much. Your viewership matters. Trust me, when Jess and I are like, let's do this. We do this for you guys. A lot of information might not be super, valid for you guys, recognizing your divers too. It's just great to have you guys on her, like, you know. So feedback is welcomed. Season 2 starts in the near future. Our last episode is next week. We will be talking about lionfish. But feedback is always welcome, you guys. We're out here. We love this stuff just like you guys do. We're building this while we fly. I wanted to have a show that was relevant and well executed and consistent and fun and engaging and interactive. And I think we did check all those boxes. Um, Wonderful to have such an amazing co-host, Jess. Thank you so much for your energy and your tenacity and everything you've made this Wednesday night series so much that you make it look. I look forward to it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So
Thank you. It means a lot. I love being here and I love sharing this time with you and all of our viewers.
yeah, it's really cool, and definitely queuing up more video and more photos and stuff. Once I figure out like the best way for you guys to get the most, like, I don't want like 1 frame per second video, like so whatever's the smoothest way, we'll figure that out. But yeah, Magic, I got the video of your first catch. I can hear you yelling through your regulator or cheering through your regulator, so I have that video. I'm not kidding, I have it. And yeah, man. Yeah, Magic. I mean, I know this late live show has been quite fun. But I do want to increase our viewership, so we will be moving to an earlier time that I hope works out for you as well. But it's great to have you back on the show to talk about some stuff and share your experiences. And then that aside, man, we're gonna get in the water. We're out here on the same rock, and JD, I ain't diving with you guys. Like, sheesh. Anyway, so it's the end of the month. Tomorrow will be the 30th, I think. So make the most of the days. Stay safe, and goodness, stay strong. Things are crazy out here, and there is light, just like the little tunnel down Clarence Cove. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we got our lights. We'll light it up. Jess, viewership, live and on replay, thank you so much for all of your support. Till next time. Yeah? Jess, are we going now officially?
All right. Good night, guys.
We are gone.
So I got a message on social media letting me know that there was some debris here at Admiralty Park Beach. So I stood up an event on Facebook, invited a bunch of friends to meet me here after work, and we dove for debris. I mean, the ocean connects us all. To me, it's one big blue ocean. Ultimately, if I throw a piece of trash or a piece of trash ends up in the ocean, it could float anywhere. And in fact, most of the debris that washes up in Bermuda is long-range foreign trash that has come from anywhere as far as West Africa or even Japan. Everything just swirls around and ends up on our shores. So we're all connected, whether we recognize it or not. Documenting all the work that we do is very, very important. And taking photographs and shooting video and even going live during these exercises is such a phenomenal thing because it opens up to the world the effort that we're doing. And in fact, most of the time we catalog the debris that we catch and put that into an online database. And just TBI facilitates all of that, whether it's going live on site, taking photographs and creating an album on Facebook, or posting all of our photographs to Instagram. It's just valuable, and having the internet opens up what we're doing to the world. My name is Weldon Wade. I'm a diver, educator, and advocate for ocean sustainability.